What's up, guys? It's Damp. I have been getting a ton of questions over the last couple months about champion level dungeons and what I do and what the playstyle is and why am I dying so much and all those things. I was really trying to wait until town events came out, but I wanted to put this out there because we've been getting a lot of questions, and with um, the recent changes in the game where you see that people now can come out of the stagecoach at level 3. It I don't want to say it's altered the game a ton, but it's made it a little bit easier for people to recover from the champion level dungeons. But I'm still seeing that some of you are struggling, so I wanted to kind of go over a few basic things to help you through them. And then as town events come out, I'll probably release a new top 10 tips, and I'll go back through and update all the classes. I know some of you have asked for those. I'm really holding off until town events, which I think will be the last major content patch. Excuse me. Moving on. So, champion level dungeons and what they look like. So, obviously, these red markers for on the estate map that kind of show your missions, these are the champion level dungeons. Obviously, you guys probably know that or you wouldn't be here. Couple things to note about champion level dungeons. One, first of all, you got to play it safe. You've spent a lot of time with these characters, and it takes a while to get them leveled back up if they do die. So don't do yourself any disfavors, so to speak. Bring a healer and bring somebody that can scout. Those are the two main tips that I'll give you. The third tip would be bring somebody who, make sure you bring people that are able to move around. You get locked in with somebody who can't move very well and your party gets shuffled or you get surprised, not a good day. I mean, you're probably going to lose some people. So with that, with play it safe, bring more provisions than you think you need, because provisions are a lot less valuable than somebody dying and having to use your time again to go back and level somebody up. So play it safe. The second thing I'll tell you, and this is why I never have favored stun in dungeons, is bringing stun is a liability here. I'd never use it. I used it in the darkest dungeon. If you've seen my videos, you did see that I use it there. But I never really use it outside of the darkest dungeon unless I have no other option. And here's why. Stun resists in champion level dungeons, they're buffed significantly. I mean, they almost go through the roof. So if you're going to bring somebody to a champion level dungeon and they utilize, let's say, flashbang, one, and this goes for all the skills, make sure it's maxed out. Don't be cheap. So anybody going into champion level dungeons, their gear should be red here, not blue. So it should be completely leveled up. You should be prepared to trinket for the dungeons. And then you also want to make sure that all the skills that you're going to utilize, one, hopefully have synergy with the other classes you're bringing. But two, like Mark, for example, it makes your life a little easier. But two, make sure they're maximized. Go to the guild and ensure that everybody's stuff is where it needs to be. So for example, let's say I took the antiquarian here. So if I was going to use flash powder and it was only at the 3rd level, flash powder 3, I would be doing myself, or I'm sorry, flash powder 4, because this is 1. I would really be doing myself a disfavor. I would be looking at the fact that she's going to be working from behind almost immediately. So don't do that to yourself. You're just giving yourself an additional risk. If you don't have the gold, maybe you don't belong there yet. It's up to you, but I mean, obviously you guys know I have a lot of gold. I've played since day one, since it's released out of the Kickstarter backing. And I would tell you that if you are moving on a champion level dungeon, you've got to be prepared. So everybody's got to be maxed out, have the right camping skills that you want to bring. Take your time as you're building your party and make sure it's who you want. Ensure you have your trinkets. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. Make sure you're bringing the right trinkets. So that's kind of in your preparation stage what you want to do. The next thing is I would tell you that I personally don't bring anybody to stress heal. I think that slows down your attack and it makes you a little more susceptible to taking more damage and additional stress by not damaging the other party. So my playstyle is really aggressive. Not that you have to play that way, but that would be my recommendation. I would not use stun. I would very selectively use AoE. So the only time I tell you to use AoE in a champion level dungeon is when you know you're going to kill something and it allows you to do additional damage to somebody who is either also going to die, or it at least lets you do 2 pieces of damage to someone. So if you're going to kill one guy for sure with that AoE, great. At least it allows you to damage somebody else. That's the right move in that situation. But just doing it because you can hit 3 people, not necessarily correct. Another thing that's really underrated is debuffs, which I would tell you if you're an advanced player or you're looking just to change your playstyle, debuffs can be pretty powerful for avoiding damage. I think there's a guy, I believe his name's Care Level 0, really favors that playstyle, and I've watched some of his stuff. And I would tell you that it's pretty viable. I don't use it, but I would tell you if you're looking to change it up or looking for another way to play, that's what I would recommend. Again, hold back on the stuns a little bit. Make sure you're prepared with enough provisions, and those are the basics. Now, as far as preparing and picking the missions that you want to select, so the first ones I tell you that you really want to avoid are any short dungeons. Until you get really comfortable, avoid the shorter dungeons. So if you've seen my other videos, I go into why, but the short dungeons are not very forgiving, and I find that the RNG is quite a bit more difficult in those. It might just be my luck, but what I would tell you is that I think it's a lot more risky to take a short dungeon. Now you can obviously do them, but I would tell you that you don't have the opportunity to camp. You don't get that additional stress heal. Whoever you're bringing, you can figure the next time they're going through a dungeon is going to be a couple weeks later, because they're probably going to take quite a bit of stress and have no way to heal it unless you bring a stress healer. And then again, you're doing less damage. So avoid the short dungeons. That's the first tip. Second one is try to stick to the explore 90% of the rooms quest. They're the simplest. They're, in my opinion, the most forgiving and the least RNG based. Now your map obviously is going to be RNG based, but where your wards are placed becomes difficult. Where your room battles are becomes difficult. But I would say this is a close second, completing room battles if you don't have the option. Medium or long. Long is probably most forgiving. It gives you the most chance to get your stress back under control. The reason I say don't take these is, one, a lot of these quests where you're activating things, it requires you to, so I'll kind of show you. Let me just grab some people in here. So when you go to provision, you're already taking up slots where loot's going to go. That's going to make you less money. The other thing is, as you begin to collect things, once you get over 65% of your loot table here, or I shouldn't say loot table, but backpack, you have the chance to spawn the collector. That's another thing that's going to work against you. So I would tell you to avoid these. By the time you provision up, you're already at 65%, which means you're giving him a 5% chance to spawn. So it's another recommendation. Try and stay away from those until at least you know what you're doing in a champion level dungeon. Your party doesn't have to be level 6s. They can be level 5s. That's perfectly fine. But when you're building your party, if you're building it for an explorer, build it with somebody who can scout. It helps you a lot. So Grave Robber's really, really strong. She also has high crit, which will again in turn reduce your stress. And you can utilize her trinket that allows you to get a better scouting chance, which is a huge, huge help when it comes to really trying to reduce the amount of gold or the amount of stress you're utilizing. This is it right here. So 30% trap disarm, that means additional chances to reduce stress by disarming the trap. And then on top of that, she's got additional crit, additional speed. This is probably one of the best trinkets in the game right now, and additional scout chance. It should probably be nerfed a little bit. But that trinket is amazing. If you've got that and you have a Grave Robber, that's already a great start to a champion level dungeon. So moving on to a couple other quick things that I can give you guys. Obviously, you're bringing somebody with high crit. You want to focus on one person that has high damage, and always bring a healer. If you're looking for the most forgiveness, which you probably should when you're level 5, bring a Vestal. And the reason I say bring a Vestal is because she's able to bring multiple people off death's door if you happen to be there with the party heal. And she is the least RNG based of a healer. If you're going to bring her, bring Judgment, and if she happens to go first or second, use her offensively and use her aggressively. Make sure to use judgment as often as you can. It's really one of the best combat skills in the game, in my opinion. So we're bringing a Vestal. We're probably bringing somebody that can scout. You want to bring somebody high damage, so a Hellion does very well here. But also you could bring the synergy for a Mark party. You could bring a Houndmaster who also scouts really well, then drop out your Grave Robber, and you could bring a Bounty Hunter who can deal high damage, and all those guys move around pretty well, so it's a pretty good party. So those would be the recommendations I'd give you as far as some basics. I mean, there's a lot of things in it, but you really want to take it slow. Focus the stress mobs down first. Focus on the back 2 rows or pull them forward. I would tell you be very cautious about utilizing stun. It's good, but you've got to trinket for it if you're going to bring it. I don't recommend it because I think there's too many chances that you're going to end up wasting a turn where you could have been dealing damage and eliminating that turn long term in the fight. So a couple other things I'll give you real quick. So when it comes to champion level dungeons, go slow. Remember to click the map so you get your scout checks. And as you are going through and building your party, you really want to treat it with the amount of care like you were going to pick to go to a boss fight. Pick a party that has great synergy, go slow, and if you have somebody that scouts, you'll be able to pick and choose. Don't fight where you don't have to. It just is common sense. If you don't need to do that fight and you can walk around it, walk around it. Don't bring yourself into additional fights because you're trying to be greedy about loot. At this point, it's not really about loot. It's getting the character to level 6 and really maximizing their quirks and getting them ready to go to the darkest dungeon. So it's much more about class synergy at level 6 than it has been in the past. They're going to have much more resists. They're going to bleed you more, and they're going to bleed you for a lot more. For example, if you're going to the Cove, you're going to run into the Lobster that's going to bleed the absolute shit out of you. So be prepared with bandages. Don't use the bandage the first time you're hit with it. Use it the second time you're hit so you can save it. But just generally speaking, these are a few tips I think that would help you. I'll go a little more in depth when we go back through and we do town events. So once the town events patch hits, I'll probably clean this up a little bit, but I did want to get this out there. I missed DD quite a bit. I'm just waiting on the town events until I go back through and do NG Plus because I think it will add quite a bit of content to the game. So I didn't want to go all the way through NG Plus when town events wasn't fully implemented. So that's why you haven't seen a lot of NG Plus stuff from me. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. As far as the spreadsheet goes, many of you have asked. I will still be working on the spreadsheet. Again, I'm waiting on the last patch to hit, and then I'm going to go through it slowly. I'm just absolutely terrible at data entry. So Who had done quite a few updates, and I will be adding some more stuff, and I'm still streaming DD 1 day a week if you guys want to come by and hang out. Throw me a follow on Twitch. It'll be in the comments and description below. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next